The last thing that Don warned me about was he said, don't talk about religion. No God in your stuff, okay? The next piece is about God. It is entitled, humbly, Moth. Does the death of a single moth mean as much to God as the death of a single human? Exactly how far down does God's care reach? Does he hold maggots in high regard, for example? What about microbes? We all know he cares a whole lot about life right after sperm and egg get together, so he must care quite a bit about flies, and he must care even more about moths. I have a moth in my hand right here. I have rescued it from the cat's drinking water, where it was frantically trying to free itself. I pick the moth up, pinching its wings between my fingers, laying it gently in my hand. It buzzes against my palm, drying its wings. I hold the moth in the sunlight. I examine the mottled wings, the complex camouflage, the intricacy of interfingering patterns becoming smaller and smaller, the shimmering moth cloak. I look in the moth's tiny face. What if God's face looks like the moth's face? The moth extends and retracts its proboscis. I sense the moth's fear thrumming a sudden panic bump as it retracts and flies against the window glass and falling to struggle on the red brick floor with ever-diminishing energy, to struggle no more, to lie still under God's watchful eye. I've seen many people die, and God was there only once or twice that I could tell. But God was definitely present as the moth checked out. God's single eye, a single tear at the corner, appeared at the kitchen window. Did God feel that way about every single moth? It seems as if thinking just about the moths in the world would stretch the divine caring powers to the limit. If God is busy caring about bacteria and phytoplankton, centipedes, roaches, tigers, narwhals, eagles, rats, and bats, what's left over of the divine attention for people? And then factor in that there are so many humans as there are moths. Does anyone get God's undivided attention? God is by nature a multitasker and a micromanager, it seems. He must weigh out exactly what happens and exactly when, simultaneously, everywhere at once, caring about each and every plant, every event, animal from microbe right on up to elephants and whales. God never sleeps nor rests, and to whom does God complain when the burden gets heavy? Since everything that God does or says takes place in the context of forever and immortality, nothing God does has any final meaning, any real significance. God despairs about being a know-it-all. This sense of despair is the root from which springs the divine love of this particular moth. This moth is my child, God says. But these words are a lie, and God knows it. His perceptions are so shattered, so multifaceted, so divided, that God has simply lost interest. God is deeply bored. His words are mere cardboardish filaments of the divine intelligence that perceives all at once the multiple outcomes of every act, every change, every evolution. God knows everything already. There are no surprises for God. In his all-knowing, he has become cynical and detached. Even stirring up a good tornado or a hurricane or two has lost its punch, and so now he'll have to make do with a dead moth. I will make the moth immortal like myself, so that it will be my companion until the end day. And when the end day comes, when I destroy the universe and everything in it, and I reign supreme over what is left. I don't want to live forever, the moth whispers. I knew you would say that, God says. Thank you very much.